For as long as I can remember, my family has lived in Youngstown, Ohio. Every childhood story I've heard from relatives had taken place in Youngstown. I was born there, but when I was 5, my mom and I moved to Cleveland. Even though I would occasionally spend summers there, most of my memories don't take place in Youngstown. So I sat down with my mother and grandmother to hear their stories about growing up in the same town, in 2 different generations. I wanted to try to understand their and my family's attachment to the city and the memories they carry with them.
My name is Toney, and I was born and raised in Youngstown, Ohio. I am 45 years old, so I've been here since I was 19 before I went away to college and then moved back. So approximately, give or take, 24 years.
My name is Linda D. Cook Toney. I'm from Youngstown, Ohio.
How long have you lived in Youngstown?
67 years.
So, how many generations do you remember our family living in Youngstown?
I remember my great grandmother, my grandfather's mother. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4 now, 5 generations.
My mother came from Birmingham, Alabama, and my father's siblings, they were younger, they came from Alabama, but my father moved up here. I think they was living in Newcastle, Pennsylvania.
I know we migrated here from Alabama, so our family is originally from Leeds, Alabama, and half of them, I'm not gonna say half, some of them moved to Ohio, which was my great great grandfather and his wife moved to Youngstown, and they had my grandparents, which my grandfather worked at the steel mill, which was a big thing back in the 80s.
Do you know why they chose to settle here?
Mainly for work, and it was peaceful, quiet. Ohio was up and coming. Youngstown was the steel mill city, so a lot of people came here to work. Well, my grandfather works until he retired. My grandmother used to work at Packers, which is a facility where they make stuff, like a warehouse. She was a real big here too. So like if you work at Packers, if you work at GM or the steel mill, you pretty much made decent money. And then my mom's sister, she was a teacher. It was just regular old working folks. Really wasn't trying to do nothing but survive and take care of their families.
What type of things were passed down through generations?
Um, let's see. Probably cooking, passed down through generations. Some men family had to learn how to build, help build houses and stuff like that. My father's house was built. My father built our house. Your grandpa's father built his house, and your grandfather and his uncles had to learn how to do masonry and carpentry.
This was my great grandfather's house. So that would make it back in the 30s, 40s. So for a black man to own property back then, it was really big at that time. And then they passed it on to his son. His son passed it on to his kid. Their kids passed it on to us. And then after us, we passed it on to our kids. So it's a generational wealth. We all lived pretty much around this house in the same neighborhood, so we was never really far. There's always a bunch of kids here. My grandmother was a really, really big cook. She was a big baker. That's where I got it from. So I used to always bake. Well, I didn't have a choice. The oldest girl always had to help the women cook in the kitchen. So I started out chopping up vegetables and then moving my way up. And so now I bake. I bake just like my grandmother. Everybody loves Jeanette's 7-Up cake. So me and my mom, we make that quite a bit for the holidays for people if they ask us to.
Could you explain what that is?
It's a pound cake made with 7-Up pop.
Do you know how she came up with that?
No, I don't. She just wrote it on a piece of paper.
That's interesting.
And I still got the piece of paper that my mom wrote it on.
When I was younger, we spent a lot of times outdoors. It wasn't many places to go. Everybody stayed neighborhood-wise. It was a dry cleaners in the neighborhood, a grocery store in the neighborhood. So everything was right here in the neighborhood. You didn't have to go far. So my earliest memory was me and my mom would catch the bus to downtown to go to the meat store. So we would go to the butcher, and that's how we got our food. And then we would go across the street. They had an ice cream shop, diner, and I would always get the banana ice cream. Best banana ice cream ever. But that's my earliest memory, besides playing with my friends and having to be home before the street lights came on. You know, the normal for my age.
I used to like going to Skate Connection, which was a skating rink. We used to go every Sunday at 8 o'clock, like clockwork. Where everybody in the community, my high school, different high schools where we are, it was like teen night. So we all go there on Sundays. And we used to go bowling because my grandmother and grandfather was on a bowling league. So we used to go bowling with them all the time too, which that was fun.
What were some of your favorite hangout spots or activities to do?
Favorite spot, McGuffey Center. We'd have sewing club, dance, drill team. We would play pool, badminton. I played baseball for their team until I was probably 22, 23.
I used to go to McGuffey Center for day camp. I have been going there since I was 6 up until 14. We would go every summer. And we have a lot of kids in the neighborhood that would go there in the summer as well because our parents work. And going there, we learned the Black National Anthem. We learned the pledge about loving ourselves, self-care. It was real big on Black culture and learning who you are as a person. If it wasn't for that place, I would have never known a lot of the stuff that I know now about Black history. And they used to take us to Cedar Point every year. We used to go to the zoo every year, the petting zoo, the aquarium before it closed. We had picnics. It was just, they made sure the kids was able to get out the city who normally wasn't allowed or able to financially to do so. And people who didn't have the money, other folks would sponsor and help those kids. That was a big significant part of Youngstown's history. And McGuffey Center is still there. It still looks the same. They have basketball games there. We used to watch movies. They fed us lunch. And I only live like a half a street away, so I walk.
I also went to day camp at McGuffey Center, one of the few summers I spent in Youngstown. I remember going golfing for the first time and finding out I was good at it. All of the counselors and campers were really nice, and it was the first time I had connected with a big group of people. I even met someone who was related to me, and we were inseparable the entire summer. Different decades, different memories, same place. And I realized, Youngstown didn't just shape them, it also shaped me.
When I was younger, people used to come to this house every New Year's Day my grandmother would have a party. And she had this party for as long as I can remember until she passed away. So people from out of town would come here, and can you imagine this house full of people, upstairs and down. And it would be lots of food, drinks, people watching football, the kids running around. A lot of people in our family remember the parties, the New Year's Day parties.
In the neighborhood, everybody knew everybody, so it's like you lived on one side of town, and we really didn't associate to other people on other sides of town unless it was your relative. Or as I got older and was in high school, that's how we, met other people from other sides of town, because you got to go to parties and stuff like that.
Everybody in the neighborhood was really, really close. We were close with the Holland Sheds that live across the street. We were close with the Herds. We were really close with them. And I can't think, but I'm still close with a lot of the kids now. And even you grew up with some of the grandkids.
I didn't realize how like close of a community was here in Youngstown.
Yes, we were very, very close. Back in the day, and when I was younger, yes, everybody was a very, very close knit. It was so much so that even if we wasn't cousins, we would just stay regular cousins because we all grew up together. Everybody watches everybody's kids. If my mom saw you doing something, even if you wasn't her, you're still getting in trouble. Everybody knew everything.
After listening to their stories, I feel more connected with Youngstown. Even though I didn't grow up there, a large part of my life has been shaped by the city. Now when I look at the town, I can see their stories and their memories, and I can see the town through their eyes.